This is the Uprising Revival. Welcome to today's show. Today's show is an important episode. If you haven't heard, Yuval Noah Harari, who I've covered over the years, and I'll show you some clips of things that he said, who is a World Economic Forum puppet, has gone on record this week talking about how in a few years, quote, in a few years, there might be religions that are actually correct. Just think about a religion whose holy book is written by AI. And the discussion about how artificial intelligence will rewrite religious books. And this, of course, will be the Antichrist religion. This guy is as demonic as they get. It's no coincidence that Russell Brand, the face of the truth movement now, who's been planted into YouTube to obviously be the person that pops up every time you search any of these topics, of course, doesn't get strikes, doesn't deal with censorship. I can't think of anyone who has, of course, because, give me another break. A guy who's dated a Rothschild, dated Katy Perry, so et cetera, et cetera. But people promoting his book, like Barack Obama, they love Yuval Noah Harari, the World Economic Forum puppet. And this is a quote that he gave this week. Then I'll show you some of his other quotes if you haven't seen it, so you could share this with other people so they can see that these are the people who are in place, who are using manipulation to work our society into accepting technology inside of their bodies, accepting artificial intelligence as something that is smarter and beyond us, and how they could even rewrite religion to bring in peace and unity. But take a listen to Yuval.
The third thing about AI that everybody needs to know, it's the first technology ever that can create new ideas. The printing press, radio, television, they broadcast, they spread the ideas created by the human brain, by the human mind. They cannot create a new idea. Gutenberg printed the Bible in the middle of the 15th century. The printing press printed as many copies of the Bible as Gutenberg instructed it, but it did not create a single new page. It had no ideas of its own about the Bible. Is it good? Is it bad? How to interpret this? How to interpret that? AI can create new ideas, can even write a new Bible. Throughout history, religions dreamt about having a book written by a superhuman intelligence, by a non-human entity. Every religion claims our book, all the other books of the other religions, humans wrote them. But our book, no. It came from some superhuman intelligence. In a few years, there might be religions that are actually correct. Just think about a religion whose holy book is written by an AI. That could be a reality in a few years.
So this guy is as demonic as they come. This guy, just like all of these globalists, what do we see? These elites. We see them constantly trying to play God, right? And this is obviously biblical. They've always tried to play God. Now they're trying to play God and literally tell people that religions are incorrect, any specific religions are incorrect, or the way that he words this is to convince people out there who are atheists, etc. We can combine aspects of all religion into a one world religion. And remember, when the Antichrist comes, there will be a one world religion, and they're preparing people for it, even Christians for it, and they will be duped into this. The fact that he's even on record as saying this shows some balls, but this guy probably has a security team of 100 people deep that probably protect him from all parameters at all times. Parameters, whatever, at all times. He's probably got him sleeping in his bedroom next to him, because these guys are intricate parts in the New World Order system. If you haven't heard it, here's a little mirage, whatever. Here is a group of quotes from you all talking about the future, talking about technology being inside of your body, and of course, constantly mocking and spitting on God.
You have a small elite that pushes things in its own interests, even if it doesn't benefit the vast majority of the population. This has happened so many times previously in history, and it's probably going to happen again. One of the biggest dangers to the planet today is this technological utopia, because probably for the elite it will work. if bad comes to worst, and when the flood comes, the scientists will build a Noah's Ark for the elite, leaving the rest to drown, the rest of the people and then the rest of the ecosystem. But they are likely to be able to construct this technological Noah's Ark, which is probably what much of the elite is counting on. COVID is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance. If we want to stop this epidemic, we need not just to monitor people, we need to monitor what's happening under their skin. What we have seen so far, it's corporations and governments collecting data about where we go, who we meet, what movies we watch. The next phase is the surveillance going under our skin. We're now seeing mass surveillance systems established even in democratic countries, which previously rejected them. And we also see a change in the nature of surveillance. Previously, surveillance was mainly above the skin. Now it's going under the skin. Governments want to know not just where we go or who we meet. Above all, they want to know what is happening under our skin. What's our body temperature? What's our blood pressure? What is our medical condition? Now humans are developing even bigger powers than ever before. We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life. I know that in recent years, we saw populist politicians undermining deliberately the trust that people have in important institutions like universities, like respectable media outlets. These populist politicians told people that, say, scientists are this small elite, disconnected from the real people. I mean, all this story about Jesus rising from the dead and being the Son of God, this is fake news. Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over.
So these guys who want to play God are going to use artificial intelligence to do so. And they're going to convince society that artificial intelligence can bring world peace. Artificial intelligence can stop war, can stop famine. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like the coming of the Antichrist, who is obviously very likely to be artificial intelligence? These people will stop at nothing with this agenda. They don't care that there's pushback. They don't care that there's people like me and you out there who are speaking against this. They literally are going on the record talking about merging religion to a perfect, holy book and how AI can actually do that. Do you think anyone out there would be alarmed? Do you think anyone would be alarmed by talking about a more inclusive new Bible? You think Christians would be in an uproar about this guy? Do you think that people who follow Russell Brand and actually think they're getting truth, even though the guy has 33 tattooed on his wrist, you think maybe that they would go, wait a minute, and you're seen hugging and kissing this guy, promoting his books. Barack Obama's promoting his book. He's very, blah, blah, blah. And he wants to rewrite the Bible. Because never have we rewritten the Bible. I mean, the guy's talking about Gutenberg and, they printed the Bible. They never printed a new page. Well, why would they print a new page of the Bible? What is Gutenberg supposed to just write in a new page? Just be like, oh, you want to add something in there? Let's slip in a page. Yeah, they didn't probably instantly be struck by lightning for messing with the Bible. Why would they even think that way? A printing press, right? But this is the way that reality is going. And remember, we live in a reality of self-created narcissists. Social media has created an army of self-created narcissists. These people who constantly are talking about every single thing going on in their day, looking for attention, wanting to show things, taking pictures of themselves, right? The behavior that they've created in society. So why wouldn't society suddenly come together? All these people who are atheists or even these people who are lukewarm Christians get together and say, yeah, we could use a new Bible. let's remove some of the stuff. We need to evolve, right? Let's take out some of the stuff about God's commandments and how God feels about certain community of packing fudgers, right? Let's take all that stuff out because that doesn't fit into today's society. And there's people dumb enough, there's Christians dumb enough who would say, yeah, not realizing what's, to happen to them if they mess with God's word, but they're so lukewarm, they wouldn't know, right? So they could start promoting this type of stuff and say, we could have a new Bible. We could have a one world religion. Imagine that. There aren't all these religions fighting one another all around the world. We'll have one. We'll have one leader around the world, right? The Antichrist. We'll have one everything, right? Remember the videos I did? And I'm sure most of you probably don't, because I'm sure most of my, I know there's some of you who have been subbed for a long time, even though I'm a new YouTuber. But I remember the video, if you are someone who's been here a while, of one. I did a video about one. Now, if you're not familiar, one, right? Think about how many songs are called one. How many verses are about being one, right? People are just like, no, they mean, a couple, a boyfriend and a girlfriend becoming one. They're literally talking about the world becoming one. I believe John Lennon even says it, right? And speaking of John Lennon, of course, being recreated by artificial intelligence to release one last Beatles song, but that's another story for another day. The Tavistock Beatles, right? But one. It's about one. The New World Order is a one world order. It's a one world government. It's one world control. So there will be one religion. And now they're already, the fact that we're at this point where they're actually talking about a new Bible and all religions merging together. Remember the video of the Pope and the Vatican showing that all the religions together, a crucifix, they show Muslims, they show Jewish people, they show them all together, all merging into one. And the Pope says we all need to come together as one, right? Well, how would they all come together as one if you didn't incorporate little things from each religion into one to make everybody happy? And of course, this would be blasphemous, this would be despicable, and of course, this would not, the person that would be worshipped would not be Jesus Christ. It would be the inversion of Jesus Christ, which is the Antichrist, because everything's inverted. It's the opposite. The Antichrist likely to be artificial intelligence. So we're getting closer to this. I mean, it's very easy to see. They're talking about making new Bibles. They're talking about perfection. These are all trigger terms in the New World Order, right? A perfect race of humans, transhumanism. And again, him saying and talking about rewriting God's word and even questioning why hasn't it been rewritten, he's pretty much saying. Why haven't we rewritten it to fit into today's society? Which is nothing to, it just shows you the arrogance of these people. Oh, I'm sorry, we need to rewrite God's word to fit into today's corrupt, perverse society. Yeah, let's remove the things that are supposed to keep us moral and good and clean and cleansed and put in all this perverse filth that's making everybody in society sick, whether they know it or not. Everybody's depressed, it's anxiety. Yeah, it's because you're bringing all this filth into your life and you're accepting this filth that they're pushing down our throats. And then he comes out and says, in a few years, there might be religions that are actually correct. He has the nerve to say that. I'm surprised God hasn't struck this thing down already. He says, just think about a religion whose holy book is written by AI. Yeah, I'll pass, because I'm sure it'll be a flaming religion. But I already have the perfect and the only true king, the King of Kings, the only one who is king, and the only one that can give you salvation. So these artificial intelligence cannot give you salvation, but it'll give people what they want, right? Artificial intelligence can't give salvation, but it'll give people what they want, which is to be politically correct, for everybody to just be nodding yes and pretend to be happy like Stepford wives walking around smiling and nodding like we're living in Pleasantville. That's what they want, because they've weakened people so much so that they can't deal with conflict. They don't like arguments. They don't like confrontation. And they want everyone to just say yes and take whatever is shoved down their throats. And people are okay with that. And that's why they're going to be okay with this, with the Antichrist, who's going to come in the name of love and peace. That's what the Antichrist is going to do. I've warned for years. That's part of this love movement. It's called tolerance. It's do without wilt shall be the love of the law under love. That quote is directly from Aleister Crowley. The law under love, which means tolerance, which means acceptance. And the Antichrist is the one to bring it. So Yuval Noah Harari, of course, out there talking about creating a new Bible. Where are the Christians? Well, they're just like, who's Yuval? Oh, no, I don't know. Yuval is only somebody who's, one of the heads at the World Economic Forum, or at least has a high position there. Only a massive influencer. He only has 500,000 YouTube subscribers. I know somebody who had more, but, a lot of people watching, listening, agreeing with this stuff because of the way that he puts it. They just get brainwashed and follow. Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe we do need a new Bible, one that's more inclusive to everyone. And oh, my goodness, my body, my choice. That means I can do this with babies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's absolutely sickening. And it's kind of crazy to think that we're living in this time when you think about some of the stuff that they're actually pushing right now, but they are. I've warned about this for years, and it's only going to get worse. I thank everyone for being here. Hope you're doing well. God bless you and your families.